What is going on, Babylonians? It's me, Songs of Braze, back with another Battlefield 2042 beta video to bring to you, and today we're going to be looking at the LCMG and the stats that it brought with it to the beta, just so we can have a comparison for when the full game drops. If you do like these, like any of these video guides as to like attachments and stats and numbers and all that, make sure that you drop a subscribe, make sure you drop a like, and make sure you drop a comment just to let us know that this is something that you'd be interested in going forward. It's definitely something that's piqued my interest, so hopefully there's a few of you out there that would also be the same. But let's get into it. When it comes to the plus system for the LCMG, when it comes to the beta, we have 4 categories to choose from, because not every single gun has that ability. These were sights, ammo conversions, under barrels, and obviously what goes on to the end of your barrel there. So interestingly, with the LCMG, we do have a close range and long range optic, which we'll get into in a second. We do have an ammo conversion, which goes from standard rounds to anti-material rounds, which allows you to penetrate vehicle armor and penetrate light material. So this is basically your wall banging. This is your way to be able to deal with things like buggies. I don't think it's going to help you out much against tanks. It might help you a little bit out against helicopters, but when it comes to like the Apache or the Condor, etc., etc., you're not really going to be able to do a substantial amount of damage, and you're really just going to be wasting all of your ammo. So if we get into the recoil plots for obviously these guns, you're going to be seeing those up on screen. They are very similar. It does have a little bit of a wobble to it, a little bit left and right to it, which on range will obviously affect you, but in terms of like most of your gunfights that you're probably going to be taking on with your LMG, it's just not really going to come into it. And obviously there are attachments that we can use to be able to help with that kind of drift. But in terms of vertical recoil, it's a very good recoil plot, and it's very easy to be able to control. It's very easy to be able to handle, and you should be able to extend your firefights a little bit further than you would be able to when it comes to assault rifles. When it comes to both of the rounds, though, they are pretty much the same. So it doesn't seem to impact the recoil as much as you might think. So you definitely find there. In terms of rounds per second, we are looking around about the same for both, so that is just over 600 RPM, which is kind of on the slow side, but obviously it's a sustainable fire rate, so you'll be able to put a lot of lead downrange. When it also comes to the aim down sights for both of these guns, or both of these ammo conversions, they both seem to clock in at around about 433 milliseconds, so it's still kind of snappy for an LMG of what you'd expect, especially if you're coming over from Call of Duty, for example. And the reloads for both do actually have a very slight difference, and I did have to do my measurements on this like more than once just to be able to make sure I wasn't losing my marbles. But when it comes to the standard rounds, you get a 5.83 second reload, and when you come with the armor piercing or the anti-material, you do have a 6 second reload. So it's very, very minor, very, very minimal. It's almost to the point of you just wouldn't count it as any kind of you just wouldn't count it as any kind of like massive difference or anything like that. It's actually going to make you choose which one to choose over. In terms of the damage, from what I can tell, unfortunately we don't really have any like test dummies or anything like that. We weren't able to group up on like enemy teams to be able to test out the damage per gun, so we only can go from from examples of when I was taking part in the beta, and I found that this was about a 4 to a 5 shot kill. At close ranges, it was always a 4, and obviously that included headshots as well. It didn't seem to make much difference, but as you started extending that range, it started pushing more towards the 5-shot kill category. The only problem with that is because there's armor plates in this game, we weren't able to determine much in terms of who was wearing armor, who wasn't wearing armor, so therefore those numbers could be a little bit squiffy. So just bear in mind, it's around about a 4 to 5 shot kill, and once that full game drops, we'll be able to do a lot more testing with that. So next up, if we have a look at the barrel attachments, we do have obviously the standard factory fitted barrel, which obviously doesn't really come with any kind of pluses or minuses. That's just standard for the gun. We do have the Arcom tactical muzzle brake, which says that it reduces vertical recoil. So obviously we should be able to help you with being able to keep those sustained bursts on fire, mainly for longer range. In terms of close to mid-range, which is where the majority of your firefights with this gun will be, it's not really going to be making much of a difference. I don't think it's really going to be worth just having it on just purely for that. It does say it gives you a +2 to accuracy, but I can only assume that's just down to the fact that it says it gives you a bit of recoil control. If we then move on from there to the 6KU suppressor, it does actually give us suppressed sound, and it says no minimap spotted while firing. Now it does say that it reduces our firepower and it does reduce our accuracy a little bit, so just bear that in mind, that this will probably be more for your close quarter engagements, and it's probably specifically designed for that, obviously, because you're trying to stay off the minimap, and when you get to longer ranges you won't be necessarily showing up on minimaps at all at that point. So obviously that's personal preference to you. One is designed for long range, one is designed for close quarters, and then obviously you've got the standard barrel for just being your bread and butter in between. That moves us on to the Cobra Grip, where it says plus accuracy while static, and this should give us a accuracy and a range boost. Now in terms of range, I'm not entirely sure why that would be the case. I think they've probably just given us numbers similar to like how Call of Duty like to do their little graphs at the bottom of each gun, and just go, oh well, you should be able to hit things a little easier at range. So that's the only thing I can really put that down to. But in terms of accuracy, it should technically give you a little bit. In terms of my actual playtesting, I couldn't really see much of a difference. It was similar to how like the muzzle brake was supposed to fare, and the fact that I think it's more to do with maybe horizontal, which obviously this gun has quite small amounts of, and in terms of actually would I recommend this as an attachment, yes, it is purely a bonus attachment. I can't see any kind of like negatives or any kind of downsides, at least not in my testing. So yeah, by all means slap it on there, but in terms of what you're expecting to be able to get out of it, you're probably going to see more of a placebo effect out of it, if anything. So by all means stick it on there, because obviously there's no other kind of choices that we have available in the beta, and it'll be interesting to see what the actual game will bring to us. But in terms of, if you're expecting this to be like the god tier, help you becoming like a laser beamer at a massive range, it's just not going to be able to do that for you. And then last up we have the sights, which obviously we have the Fusion Hollow, which is just a plain 1X. It's just basically a little red dot that just helps you be able to take on things at closer ranges. And then we've got the Shan 2.5X, which gives us some zoom level, and it gives us a clear sight picture according to what the actual stat board says. Now, in terms of my favourite way to be able to run this gun, I would go with the 2.5 times, because you are able to be able to reach out a lot further. And it's definitely better to be able to gear this up for those kind of longer range fights. Ones that the assault rifle would start struggling a little bit in terms of like their horizontal kind of recoil. So go for the 2.5 times. I would go with the muzzle brake as well, because I would rather choose that over the suppressor to be able to engage at longer ranges. I might as well get a little bit of recoil control to be able to help me out. Go with the grip, and then just leave it with standard rounds. Now obviously in terms of standard rounds, you could argue that obviously the anti-material ones would be able to help you out with some vehicles in certain situations. I personally don't see the use for it, but maybe that's just how I was playing it in the beta. Maybe I'm just I'm geared in my head to know that when it comes to Battlefield, there's no point using bullets to be able to take down any kind of vehicles. You're more inclined just to be able to take some kind of rocket launcher with you. So that pretty much wraps up what the LCMG actually brings to the table, and it is a pretty good gun, to be fair to you. It's definitely not as mobile, it's definitely not as easy to use as the main assault rifles that are in this game, and definitely not the SMGs when it comes to close range, but it definitely can get some work done, especially if you're able to get yourself holed up into a position, finding like some nice cover, and then just being able to lay down the fire. Obviously you do have 100 rounds to be able to take down more enemies that are in front of you, so that definitely plays a lot more. It's just a case of, do you like more ammo in your mag with longer reloads, compared to like an AR where obviously you have a little bit more mobility, you have a much lesser mag, and obviously you have to do more frequent reloads and all that kind of thing. So obviously this is for you to decide what kind of playstyle it is, but do not sleep on the LCMG. It is definitely one of the better guns that are in this game, and I would highly recommend it to you to play. So that pretty much leaves us to say thanks so much for watching, and we had a blast playing the Battlefield 2042 beta, and definitely be on the lookout for more videos to be coming in the future, especially when that game fully drops, and we'll be trying to go through as many weapon guides as physically possible as quickly as we can as well. So thank you so much to all the members of the Babylonian family. Make sure that if you are looking to be able to get your name featured in one of our videos, click on the join button that's right next to the subscribe button, and if you haven't already, make sure you have clicked that subscribe button. It really does mean the world to us to be able to watch that number go up, and we really would like to see more than 2,000 subs come the end of the year. So thank you all so much for watching. As always, keep yourself safe, keep yourself well, and see you all on their next video.